And we're live.
Hello world, this is the Pod Layer Proof of Concept demo team doing what we do, which is studying the Mojo phenomenon and recording our experiments for the public. Alright, we're going to have a normal 3-act structure tonight. Act 1 is fundamentals, Act 2 is intermediate, Act 3 advanced. Act 1 fundamentals, we like to go over the terminology used for the physiological cues that you'll be using in Mojo reading and associating them with actual real-life samples. To that purpose, we like to do collaging, and right now the collage we're working on is...
We are still going on the TV show timeline. We're on the 2000 through 2004, and today we're starting off with Monk.
Sweet. All right, then in Act 2, that is going to be the major proof of concept portion of what we're doing in this session, and that is where we have a weekly quiz for 5-10 samples that everyone's been working on under blind test conditions, and now we're going to come together and see what our cohesion of accuracy is, and the most challenging samples for the group we'll spend some time reviewing. The samples this week are from Neomegas. And then in Act 3, the advanced portion, we will be doing a live read off of a sample from Neomegas, and that's where you'll be seeing how we actually do it in real time. And the conversation back and forth that the Mojo readers are doing is the conversation that you'll also be having inside your own head if you're doing it solo. In themselves, they're actually having the conversation each in their own head, and then they're actually voicing a lot of it. So you drink in actual proficient Mojo readers doing what they do. So introductions, and we'll get going. I am Nai Ji Coach.
I am Jaini Jailene.
I am Zaini Ademus.
I'm Naiji Mitchell.
I am Naiji Ben.
This is Naiji Glenn.
I'm Nijai Bruno.
Okay, excellent. Okay, perfect. So let me screen share the TV show timeline 2000 through 2004. We're going to start off, as I mentioned, with Monk, and we're going to go round robin. Coach will start us off, and then we'll go in order from there. And rules as normal. The first time that we encounter
First turn.
Yeah, the first turn, essentially, you'll call out a cue. Then any time there's a new gender mojo, we'll also call out a cue, or several cues for that mojo.
All right, Monk, one of my favorites. Adrian Monk is a brilliant San Francisco detective whose obsessive-compulsive disorder just happens to get in the way. Actually, it also helps him solve cases, but whatever. All right, former police detective Adrian Monk had suffered from intensified obsessive-compulsive disorder and a variety of phobias since the murder of his wife Trudy in 1997. Despite his photographic memory and his amazing ability to piece together tiny clues together, he is now on psychiatric leave from the San Francisco Police Department. Aided by his friend and practical nurse, Sharona Fleming, Monk works as a freelance detective consultant, hoping to convince his former boss, Captain Stottlemyre, to allow him to return to the force. Stottlemyre wavers between admiration for Monk and annoyance at his eccentricities. Moreover, he harbors serious doubts about the wisdom of allowing Monk to carry a gun. Stottlemyre's second-in-command, Lieutenant Disher, also has his doubts about Monk, but seems to be developing a reluctant admiration for the defective detective. I have to say that Biddy Schramm, Sharona Fleming, she's only that in the first season or so, and after that, she's Nijai. Later on, there's actually Nijai who does that role, and I prefer, and did many more seasons. Keep check, I pass.
Okay, Naiji Tony Shalhoub as Adrian Monk. See here, Tony Shalhoub is a Naiji who has who has good development, and as part of that, he has good use of his the Zai, which is his third power, the unflappable one, to basically like stone face. Not really. Sort of people call that poker face. Also, not giving anything away. It's related. Zai is related to tactical consideration, and so there's this look like here he has the cunning eyes.
How do you separate that, Charlene? That's good. How do you separate that from another mode that's like a Zai or something?
Okay, for the way that you distinguish it for someone like him, an IG versus a Zaini that
short, just basically modulation Zai.
Yeah. Okay. Modulation Xi. So one of the things you'll see is that the Xi doesn't go above, won't go either above the midline or the brimline for modulation mojos.
Actually, but it has to do with its inability to keep the G,
The
the
neutralizing.
neutralizing.
All right. Yeah. So it's for mojos that don't have it as Xi modulation. The Xi, which neutralizes the emotive expressioning, won't be as I guess as
Well,
full or like.
it's not.
There'll still be emotive expression that'll come through
Right.
regardless of how much neutralizing is
Done.
occurring. So, for example, in this picture on the right, you can see it on both, but you can still see that smirk and the emotive expressioning, the flexations here, despite the neutralizing that he's doing in both pictures.
We've pointed that out before, for example, on the JES Alpha, the values-based major mental mojos, how that even they're having like very little expression on their face, there's still a lot of tone. You'll see that in those that have a values-based power as minor mentum as well. It's not as pronounced, but still it's there. That kind of, subtle smirk, for example, on the right, and even on the left, it has that sort of like, I'm waiting. It's still kind of speaking a bit, even though it's trying to be tamped down.
Hey, Coach. When you in the diagrams, I've noticed that Xi seems to be placed higher up than Z neutralizing. Like for example, on a do you know what I'm talking about? Like
You're
the
talking about where the Xi is placed? Yeah.
yeah, the ellipses versus the diamond shape thing neutralizing.
Right. So, like comparing that to the Genii, what is it you're saying?
Um, no, well you used an ellipsis, like an ellipse
Are you
shape for Xi and a sort of a diamond shape for Z, I think.
Correct. That was to show yin and yang between the neutralizing powers.
Okay, but one of them is higher than the other consistently, I've noticed.
Right. The those who have Xi in the second position, it's modulation. Therefore, it's not their whole face. It's just on the cheek. The size will be smaller, will be larger than those who have it as their last power. I'm sorry.
But no, I get that. I don't want to take up too much time here, but it is something that was bugging me when I was reading, like I'm
Okay,
talking
well,
about. I'm
I
talking
think
about.
Offline,
this
I think
this has kind of got a
yeah.
bit off topic here, but to
Yeah.
answer your question, there is a logic to it which I think is sound, but we can discuss it later. Long story short is the size of the logic-based power in the cheek and its positioning relates to how strong it is, smaller versus larger, and how strong its curtaining effect has going downward. All right, next.
Oh wait, sorry. That is the. Okay, so I'm looking at a Nijai and a Nizai Mojo.
Are we still
Can
talking
we
about
take
that?
this offline, Bruno?
Yeah, sorry. I'll talk. I'll say something else some other time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can just send us an email
Yeah.
Okay.
with the images. I think. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Nizy Jason Gray, Stanford. All right. As a Nizy, they have Ni first. So as you can see on the right picture, the right one has more of a clear, cunning look. You can see that there's this penetrating gaze that he's giving. A lot of energy that's coming from the eyes, but specifically it's a boundary-setting quality. Compared to the left actually has a bit more of an open look. It's because he's out on the red carpet, there's people taking pictures of him, so you see a bit more V drinking in, whereas on the right, you could see this more momentum, cunning, focused energy that's coming from his eyes.
Looks like Doogie Howser. What's his name? Patrick.
Neil
Patrick Harris. Yeah.
All right. Nizy Ted Levine as Captain Leland Stelmar. So, which crew did you just do, Demas? Sorry.
Nine.
I just. Oh yeah, I just did Nye specifically.
Okay. I was excited. I knew you did an IC. All right. I just remember what you said. Yeah. So, as an IZ, he's going to have Jai unaware expression, so the mouth has more of a downturned look to it. It because it's a resonating power. It's not. It's more, the focus is more on the lower lip. It's more passive value-based power, waiting to be kind of hit with something, pinged with something. It's a resonating power. And it doesn't. It's logic based, so it's not gonna. The emotive expression is not gonna go above the midline of the face, and as you can see, it's the sheer cheeks in both pictures.
Nijai, Trailer Howard. Nijai have Z as their offside power, and this means that while you will see Jai, in the cheeks, with it being one of their momentum powers, you will also see this Z bracing quality that will be pushing downward from her cheeks. So.
Nizy, Stanley Carnell. Nizy have Jai as their offside power, so you can see there's a difference between the left and right pictures there. He's got more Z, I think, on the left-hand side picture, whereas on the right-hand side picture, he's emoting more. He's got more of like an open energy about him. His Jai seems pleased, but you'll notice that it does not go it doesn't go above the midline of the that's right below his nose area. It goes up quite a bit though, and it is quite strong though, and Jai also comes with an unaware quality as well.
Bruno, you're up.
I think he disappeared.
At the school.
All right.
Okay.
So come back to me. Okay, Nizai, Bini Shram, that's Sharona. All right. So, and I feel a little firmer about her. I've seen more media since the last time I looked here. But she is a Ni Alpha, which is a gather, so she has the bright, drinking in eyes and the overall buoyant, kind of lifted energy. But then in the cheeks, we're going to see that they are generally sheer, coming from the second-ranked Zai, and then the G, which is third-ranked, but because it's G, it's meant for outward expression that the other people in the environment can take away as a message. She's giving messages with her G in here, and that can actually be like, wow, look at the size of it. It's actually, she's very good at it, but then if you look at the cheeks in both of them, the cheeks really don't move, even though she is giving a good amount of motor expression.
Nizy Hector Elizondo.
Naiji Melora Hardin. Okay, so the Naiji have Ji as their tandem power. So this gives their emoting. Man, you could just look at either of these pictures. Let's pick a random one. How about the left? On the left, you can see that her emoting, okay, one, because it's ranked second, so it's momentum, then it's going to go past the midline of the cheek. So you can see her midline goes up past the midline. Doesn't go into the eyes, though. That's because she's perception lead. But it also has an aware quality to it. It's not like Jai, where it's kind of just resonating and then reflecting their resonating, but it's actually socially aware. And that ability to perceive how it's coming off comes in its ability to kind of aim itself and take on a controlled expression. You can also see that the emoting is coming from her upper lip. The energy, anyway, is coming from her upper lip.
Nizy Glenn Headley. Have we done
Not yet.
Nizy female? I guess not. Okay. I think a good cue. Am done. Well, why don't we do? She's directive, so we'll do directive boundary setting. Her gaze, something you can see, particularly as a hunter, specific kind of directive she is. It has a kind of piercing quality, not the open drinking quality of the adapters. Even though it's kind of just resting in most cases. It's not like doesn't seem like she's trying to make it do that. It's just sort of naturally piercing that way, and it's piercing in an interpretive, looking through you kind of way rather than focusing on the details, because it's nigh rather than vi hunting.
CSI Miami. The cases of the Miami-Dade, Florida Police Department's Crime Scene Investigations Unit. Horatio Kane, a former homicide detective, heads a group of investigators who work crimes amid the steamy tropical surroundings and cultural crossroads of Miami. His team includes Khalid Dukat Esne, a bilingual Southern beauty with a specialty in ballistics, Tim Speedle, a cocky yet disarming investigator who is well connected on the street, and Eric Delco, an underwater recovery expert who knows all the twists and turns of the Florida waterways. Rounding out the team is Alex Woods, the no-nonsense, know-it-all co-runner, and after Speedle is killed in action, former patrolman Ryan Wolf joins the team. Together, these investigators collect and analyze. I can't see the rest.
Oh, here you go. Does that help?
Yep, thank you. The evidence to solve the crimes and to vindicate those who often cannot speak for themselves, the victims.
Naiji David Caruso as Lieutenant Horatio.
Shiny, is that new? Emily Proctor.
Hey, Coach. Sorry, I'm back.
You'll take this one? It's new.
Okay. Shiny Emily Proctor. So as a Shiny, she will have a unifield face, and most of the tonality will come from the mouth region, the emoting specifically, and this will overtake into the eye area. So so in both the pictures, you can see sort of a far away, sort of a fairly calming look on the left, and an alert look on the right. But in both of them, it's sort of everything is going through the Jai. So even the me that is present in the eyes is being filtered through a Jai, sort of a Jai filter, which is the main primary signal.
Good. Very good. Yeah, you can see kind of like the like Bruno was saying, like the Jai is like holding space in both photos, and like on the left one, you see a bit more momentum and a perking up of the eyes, like drinking in, and on the right, it's getting a little more serious. You see some Z, animal there, a little more thigh, poise action, but it's like within that space, within that tonal energy of the Jai. She's holding both photos. Good. Okay. Jinai Adam Rodriguez. Is that new?
That is new.
Alrighty. So let's see here. I'll go with this. As a discerner, he's going to actually have the unifield face, which gives both two qualities. One, he's going to have the helmet quality, specifically being a pilot discerner, so it's got a fullness to it. There's both full as far as being like contiguous in its energy, and those who are used to reading the subtle fields know kind of like the difference there, that this has a one plane, one energy plane to it that does not actually break at the eye line. The other thing, though, which all the discerners have, including Towers, is his mouth region pops more than his eyes, and he has fairly large eyes with some good energy there and some good NI-NV. So he has energy coming from the eyes, but the mouth is pulling more, which is interesting because I think you would say he's probably doing a bit more with his eyes in these photos than his mouth. He's not really doing a whole lot with the mouth in these, yet that's where the eyes, for me, are drawn first.
Nizy Rexlin.
Shiny Jonathan Togo.
That is new.
New? Okay. All right. So the shiny. Let's see. All right. So the shiny have used their tandem power. So that gives their eyes a dancing eyes quality, which means it's going to have a more diffuse look, as opposed to the laser-eyed quality of V. This is because the eyes are tracking patterns, so they don't natively stare directly at things. They kind of, almost like flashlights, take whole concepts, whole screens in just at once. This gives them a more dispersed, diffuse quality of their eyes. Now, the Chinese is unique to, say, a Ni-alphas like a Ni-Jai, in that they don't have Ni first. They have the discernment that goes up into their eyes and tones it with the emotive quality.
All right, Jai V, Ava LaRue. I assume we haven't done.
No.
Jai V. So, I mean, usually they're pretty out of the ordinary, unless they're like a soap opera or something.
It's soap opera land.
Right.
Yeah, and we haven't. So, anyway. So as a Jai V, one thing that will definitely stand out as different is her laser eyes. She's a V mojo, so she's got eyes that, in contrast to what Adimus was talking about, are the opposite in that respect, in the sense that they have like a, I wouldn't say locked on, because it almost sounds like a hunter, but kind of. Like they're looking, they're not as dispersed as the Ni. They're more on point in a way, because that's the literal versus interpretive yang yin. And also, like the Jai, they share that the warmth of their face, the tonal energy from their Jai, does go into their eyes because their values lead. And so it is, the eyes are set in that continuous sheet face that comes from being discernment lead, but they're literal and kind of on point as opposed to the more dispersed.
Yeah. I also I'd say it in a way that almost like a camera lens who comes to mind a lot. Like when you think on point, it might make you think like a single point.
Yeah. So that's the point I was trying to like contrast with like a directive.
I think on point, I something more like Vi or something.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like pixels.
Yeah.
Like their eyes seem pixel, like, but not like pixelated in a bad way, like bad resolution, like high res.
Yeah, it's like flashy.
Yeah, flashy high res.
Yeah.
Britney Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears.
Yeah.
Their eyes.
Nizy, Kandi Alexander. American Idol.
American Idol.
It's about to get real, y'all.
All right, 12 finalists and/or future singers, 6 men and 6 women, who were selected from America, compete in a talent contest in which they were asked to sing any song they like on this Star Search clone. After each song that was sung, the judges Abdul, Jackson, and Cowell then critiqued that finalist's chosen song. After each show's ending, America must vote for a finalist to whom they really think their performance is good using this AT&T, now Singular Wireless, or any other cellular phone to cast votes with. Once the votes are locked in, the judges in America decides who has the most and the least amount of votes, and the contestant with the least amount of votes is eliminated. And it goes on each week's show until the winner is crowned as American Idol, where he or she wins a recording contract worth up to $1 million. The rest of the other finalists to whom they have been voted off before, the runner-up, also get recording contracts too.
A lot of times the winners don't do as well as like the second or third place.
Yeah. Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that too.
Maybe that's obvious to everyone.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
yes.
no.
It's kind of a popularity contest.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
it is to a large extent. But people do vote based on singing, but they don't necessarily only vote based on that.
They're not most competent judges.
So,
And it's also for some of them who actually end up winning don't have as marketable styles and voices as
Well,
some of the others.
there's two things. There's we have to move on here, but basically you have the judges and their tastes may not be the rest of America's taste.
yeah, and that's true.
Voting, technically it's not America's voting. It's Americans who watch the show are voting.
Mhm.
So the tastes of American Idol viewers may not reflect the overall taste of the rest of them.
All right, Bruno.
Oh, sorry. Xeni Ryan Seacrest. As a Xeni, he will have, let's see, he will have Jai emoting in the offside position. So you'll, I'm sorry, in the polar position. So you will see that when he smiles, there is just about the least amount of movement the Z alpha have vertically. So most of the movement is horizontal, and it's sort of it spreads out in that fashion horizontally, and it stays well below the midline and the brim line.
Point. Yeah, that's a good point actually, because a lot of times on the logic-based mojos, it's the size of the smile, and when they really note, like Britt was saying here, you can really see it highlighted. Is he actually has a big smile, and you go bigger than these pictures, but the energy is a widening, not a lifting in the cheeks.
And it stays just in the mouth area.
Just the mouth area, but it is quite large and expressive. Ejai Randy Jackson, is that new?
That is new.
Yeah. All right. So I'll take the picture on the left. That's basically a classic Nijai expression. I guess technically everything they do is, but this is a classic momentum expression. He is drinking in the environment with his knee, and he's just sort of seeing how it is moving his Jai with his mouth. It's expectant, and he is at a place of balance, but it doesn't have the more calming. It does have a calming element, but not as pronounced as a Jai Alpha would have. It has a calming, but like it's bobbling in space. The energy in the eyes, you kind of see it as overall head, and you see it as movements if we were to see video. Is there's just going to be a bit of a lift, and as a part of that lift, there's going to be a subtle bobbling quality to the head, even when held still. So the dancing eyes, a little bobbling in the head, and then the Jai resonating to the bobble. Or at least how the bobble is going.
Nizy Simon Cowell.
Vijay Paula Abdul.
That is
Have we done Vijay yet? Nope. Okay. All right. So let's talk about VIs again. This time we're looking at V alpha. A minute ago we talked about VIs coming from a Jai V. So these ones are going to be different because they're still a laser. They're going to have a more natural openness to them because it's coming from an objective mojo, a gatherer specifically. So you're going to see. Let's look at the left picture. This quality of natural drinking in with them. You can see that even when they do drink in, the eyes still have this clear-eyed, fixed on detail quality. But it doesn't have as much toning to it as the Jai V's eyes. It's because it has more of this pure V signal, pure visceral laser-eyed signal, since V is their first power.
And the Jai doesn't go beyond the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
right. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Jivai Jennifer Lopez? Is that new?
That is
Yeah, that is very
Hey, gosh.
no, the
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, the other Jevez, the other Jevez female specifically. So as Jivi, she's gonna have that very full-faced pilot look. That with the values-based pilot. The values-based expression goes all throughout her face and that kind of pilot head. And the eyes, though, the difference between her and a Jinai, the eyes within that are that they are going to have a prepared quality. Kind of hard to see in these pictures, but one thing I think that does sort of jump out, especially in the left, is the knee dancing. Too, that quality of the eyes, because that is offside, and pilots do have brighter eyes than hunters, so as compared to like a Vi Alpha, like a Vi G, you are going to see quite a bit of that knee dancing brightness quality.
And one little thing, since you mentioned it, because she has good knee, but you can see this, is that in the eyes of, let's say, the knee is higher than the Vi, so this is all the knee mojos.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have like that dancing quality, and then a pinpoint of Vi can come piercing through the center for periods of time. But when it does that, it'll always be surrounded by like that halo of the eyes of the dancing. The dancing halo never goes away. With Vi mojos, it's in reverse. When they naturally have a penetrating Vi, and so they can have that halo of knee come up around it. But when it does, that's for them the altered state, that pinpoint of Vi doesn't go away. You see the dancing, but she's still got like a pinpoint.
Yeah, definitely on the right, like she really, and maybe on the left. It's just doing it in both, but I mean, you can really see her kind of like locking on.
Yeah, it has
and tightening her eyes.
But a bit more of like the quality I'm thinking of is like a held dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's held on something. It's dancing around that held item.
Exactly.
Makes sense. But yeah, she definitely has good knee.
Naiji, Kara Diogardi.
In fact, most of the Shibai ladies that we see in music and acting and comedy tend to have quite good knee.
Yeah, it's not surprising considering the field they work in are mostly trooper.
Shiny Steven Tyler.
Nijai, Keith Urban.
Jimmy Iovine is pending. I'm guessing maybe a 5G or something.
Vijay Mariah Carey.
Shiny Ellen DeGeneres. Oh, this is outdated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
that-
like
Yeah,
Asian,
I was
isn't
gonna
she?
say,
But,
like,
Good eye, all.
Correction in real time.
Right.
she was rated to Nijai at one point, but she's a Vijay with a lot of slinky nai, but she's
yeah.
Vijay.
Her riff with Shaka Khan is crazy. That's one of the strongest ones. Hey, do you guys know what Shaka Khan looks like?
Kind of, yeah.
It looks, they look related. Anyway.
Who is this?
Is this my turn?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Vijay Taylor Hick as himself. We have not done Vijay males yet. Vijay also have Nai as their polar power. You can see a little bit in both pictures. He's kind of doing a little bit of squinting in both, and that gives off a cunning, dissatisfied signal. But it's modulation form, so it will be altered state, and it won't be nearly as strong of a signal as his V laser eye quality in the eyes.
Jivi Fantasia Barino.
G9, Jordan Sparks.
That is new. Yep.
Is that new? Okay. So as a G9, she will also have discernment lead, and a unifueled face. Being a pilot, you have the helmet variety. So in both instances, it'll be well, in both pictures, she's showing an aware expressioning in the sense that she is projecting um, her emotional expression in a way as to impact the audience, that is the viewer or the camera. Um, and on the left, you see her doing it more for effect, pulling it back with the Zai at the very end. But the Zai, you can see, is the furthest, the polar power. Uh, on the right, you see her doing it with in action. Basically, um, she's debating or dialoguing or having a conversation, and really, really in the moment uh, with that conversation, and so really help steering and piloting it with her G.
Levi David Cook. I've done males, but I'll just say quickly here. You can see he's got the helmet face, the full face of helmet carrying of G, but the eyes have that more held pinpoint quality as opposed to the Nai. But he does have a good amount of knee, but you can see it. It's like dancing around that pinpoint of Vi that never goes away.
Elliot Yamin is pending.
Naiji Crystal Bauer Sox.
I had a feeling that's where Mojo was.
Vijay Catherine McPhee.
Oh wow, Vijay Lee Dewise. Funny, I actually watched American Idol when Lee Dewise and like Crystal Bauer Sox were like the contestants like that year. So I'm just getting flashbacks and stuff.
That's
That's
good.
cool. Yeah, it's
I
cool.
watched Adam Lambert.
It's like pre-Mojo reading and post. Like
We got to close this out though. We're good.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Naiji Adam Lambert.
Vijay Blake Lewis.
Vijay Kelly Pickler.
Nijai Ruben Stoddard. We haven't done Nijai males. I don't.
I think
Did you? Okay, I did
I
check
think
it.
we have, yeah.
Nice. I will check it off.
Jaini Chris Doherty. Or Daughtry.
Vijay David Archuleta.
Naiji Casey James.
Naiji Philip Phillips.
Vijay Jessica Sanchez.
Jivi Kimberly Locke.
Nijai Michael Lynch.
Lots of Vijay males.
I do well in music.
Jivi Von Zell Solomon.
Jivi Melinda Doolittle.
Vijay Joshua Leddit.
Naiji Chris Allen.
Vijay Sisha Mercado.
Danny Goki is pending.
They don't end.
Aaron Kelly is pending.
Vijay Diana DiGarmo.
Nijai Scotty McQuarrie.
So what you guys win? I was like, it's about to get real, y'all.
Jivi Paris Bennett. Lots of Jivi females too.
Jivi Lakeisha Jones.
Brooke White is pending.
Nijai Jason Castro.
A few Nisha ones.
Matt Giroud is pending.
Jivy Holly Kavanaugh.
Vijay Kelly Clarkson, first winner.
Oh yeah, Naiji Clay Aiken.
Vijay Haley Reinhardt.
Vijay Lauren Elena.
Nijai Jasmine Trias.
Vijay Chris Richardson.
Phil Stacy is pending.
Vijay Carly Smithson.
Vijay Siobhan Magnus.
All right. Boom. We'll start top tier next time.
Oh, top tier. There's also an
image
American
looks so
top tier.
retro.
The active portion, the intermediate portion, and that is the quiz samples from Neo Vegas. So, Johnny, take it away.
All right. So, first, the requisite samples: the Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, aka Osho, spiritual guru and philosopher. What did you guess on him, Bruno?
Naiji.
Yeah, for him I said Naiji.
Me too, I said Naiji.
I said Naiji.
I said Naiji.
I went with Naiji as well.
Naiji?
Yay.
I had a feeling it was going to be Naiji, but I did also consider Nijai a little bit too. The cheeks.
You know who he reminded me of? Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg and Osama.
Yeah.
You reminded me.
Range,
Nice.
you know. Yeah. Dmitry Arlov, author, blogger, engineer, linguist, inventor, and commentator on the economic collapse. What did you guess for him, Bruno?
I guess Nijai.
Yeah, I guess Nijai.
I guess Naiji.
I guess Nijai.
I said Nijai.
I went with Naiji.
Okay, this one was quite tricky. This one actually did not have the best media. And this dude did.
I agree.
So right now I have it at Nijez. I'd like to see it again myself. I'm leaning towards Naiji, but I would like to see it again because his face is roundish. He didn't.
Yeah, I did see like his
kept
his
doing
cheeks were puffy and like certain moved than
Yeah.
others.
move him at all.
That's weird. But
I wish, yeah, really, on him because it was.
So are we going to take him out of the quiz? Or
No,
how do
no.
we
I
handle
want to spend.
it?
I want to look at him.
Yeah.
Just a
Okay.
little bit more. Yeah.
So right now we're calling Naiji, but
I'm saying Naiji. I'm gonna say Naiji, but I want to look at him again.
okay.
okay.
All right, so we'll come back to him. Next one is God Saad, an evolutionary behavioral scientist. What'd you say for him, Bruno?
Nijai.
Yeah, I was going back and forth between both Ni Alpha, but I think he's Nijai.
I said Nishai.
I said Nijai as well.
Nijai.
I went with Nijai on him.
He is Nijai, but I get what you're saying, Glenn. I did the same thing. I was like, is that Sharky? I almost thought it was Sharky for a second. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave Nijai a long consider too.
Next one is Milo Yiannopoulos, a journalist and conservative commentator.
Is it Milo?
Is
I
it
think
Milo?
so.
Okay.
Milo, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, what'd you say for him, Bruno?
Naiji.
Yeah, I said Naiji.
I said Naiji. Though I considered Naiji as well.
I said Z9.
Huh. I said Vaiji.
I went with Vaiji on him.
Who's this again?
This is Milo. Again, you know.
I don't know.
Oh, I believe that's a Baiji.
Yeah.
No.
Got that collar.
Yeah, it's interesting, like the new.
New age, like a new generation.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking the same thing. We're seeing like a new riff of journalists in general, both the Z9 and the Vaiji,
Yeah.
with these like young journalists.
Of the age of the internet, you know.
Yeah.
More guerrilla,
More savvy.
Mhm.
more savvy.
Interesting.
His ideas need a lot of work, but he's
Yeah.
polished. He's polished. Is
Yeah, his
better.
polish is there. Okay, last of the requisites, Anjem Shadari, radical Islamic preacher. What'd you say for him, Bruno?
Naiji.
I went with Z9.
I guess Vaishi.
I did too.
Vaiji.
I said Z9 for him.
I can see the Zenai thing.
Yeah.
I can because he's
His lip, his lower
his lip, and also
Mhm.
he's heavier.
Mhm.
There's a fullness to him, but I believe that's a Vaiji.
Okay. That was,
His hands are a little thicker too, but I believe they had that hard spider action, that conductor hand.
alright.
And he's also quite pugnacious in his.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I guess it's not lower lip. It may just like.
Not shy pugnacious.
Yeah. Okay. Now into optional territory. First one in the optionals is Tara Babcock, a YouTube vlogger and gamer. What'd you say for her, Bruno?
Zaini.
Yeah, same.
Pass on this one.
I said Visai.
I said Vijay.
I said Ziny. She answered.
I believe that is a Zaini with a rounder face, fuller feet. Well, his hands are quite long, I believe, and her energy was towery.
Next one is June Lapine, aka Shoes on Head, also a YouTube vlogger. What'd you say for her, Bruno?
Naizi.
I said Ziny.
I was between the two adserbs, but I guess Nizai.
I said Zaini.
Skipped.
I said Ziny.
Zaini.
Next is Rhea Seahorn, an actress. What'd you guess on her, Bruno?
Jinai.
Oh, that's a good one. But I said Nizai.
I said Zaini.
Said Nizai.
Skipped.
Yeah, I passed because of footage.
Okay, I saw she has Nizai on that one.
Okay. Paul Joseph Watson, a journalist and blogger.
Naiji.
I said Naiji.
I said Naiji.
I said C9.
Skipped.
I said Naiji.
I believe he's a new breed Vaiji.
I knew it. That's exactly what I would have said, but I had so little. I didn't want to take a chance. Yeah.
Wow.
But he's strong, he's smoother, he has
Yeah.
a smooth face, fuller lips.
Full lips, yeah.
Actually, yeah, he strongly riffs of Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah, I know what
found.
you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, yes.
Not for me, not so much, I think I see what you're saying, not so much his physiology, but his style.
Stylistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Last of the optionals, Carl Warwick, aka Styx Hexen Hammer 666. Would you? He's an occultist, an author, and a YouTube blogger. What did you say for him, Bruno?
Naiji.
For him, I said Ziny. Those cheeks, they look too sheer.
I passed, but I would have been between those two, Naiji and Zaini.
Yeah, I said Zaini as well as with Glenn. I considered Naiji.
Yeah, I think he's Ziny.
I went between the two. I landed on Naiji.
Zaini.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like the emoting is just not going out of his face.
No.
That-
It's what with him. I went in thinking that this is going to be a nice
exactly. I was like
stuff.
lays and
Then it's like as far
as
as on the longness and the emoting, I'm like, actually no, Ziny.
Exactly.
So do you want to take a look at Dimitri to see?
Yes, go there
he's
first.
In the jazz, Nijaz.
When I saw seeing IG, I just remember thinking at the time, like, I don't have as much meat as I would like on this. And then immediately I did, I was like, I really wish he would move his hands more.
yeah.
Here's one.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a bit better median.
Probably.
That would have been good. Let's see.
I guess he kind of does riff of Peter Baelish, that dude. In a
Well,
way.
Say Watchdog, you watched the USSR financially collapse back in the day, and you say we're basically on the same trajectory. Now, a lot of people probably wouldn't argue with you. Tell me briefly, why do you think we're on the same trajectory, and how close are we the U.S. to collapsing?
Well, the trajectory is defined by this sort of incompetent militarism, where more and more money results in bigger and bigger military fiascos around the world, and less of an
Okay, this
actual
rocking
foreign
motion is
policy
something you
that
tend to
can be
see in hunters
articulated
more. He's
or
kind of doing
Yeah, I
this.
think that was like a really big cue that led me to Naiji. Because I do that kind of rocking motion while I'm saying like that.
I actually do too.
now in the trillions of dollars a year. Runaway debt. The United States now has a level of
The eyes look
debt that
more
is
piercing to me,
unrepayable.
and I
All
believe
we're
in the
waiting
beginning when he
for
went
is
off
for
to
the
think
interest
about the
rates to
definition
go
or
across
the
the next
conceptualization of
threshold
something, I think that
3%,
was a nigh
and
drift.
suddenly the entire budget explodes, the budget of the country.
Okay, explodes. Okay, I think that's a V perk-up. Okay, I'm going to stick with my original Naiji read on that, but I'm going to call it a soft Naiji read. I wish I had more media, but I do believe with what I'm seeing, it's Naiji.
Well,
But I wish there was more.
That, when if you take a look
So-
at the U.S., where we are right now, how close are we to the
Okay.
collapse scenario? Some people
everyone
thought we were gonna
comfortable
collapse at
with-
11 or
does
12.
anyone
A lot
have
of
any
people have
questions?
said,
If you have
"Wow,
questions, we can
this
go
is
ahead and
going
talk
on."
about it here
PhD
now.
people, this is going on a lot longer.
Okay, right
than
there.
that.
Okay, that was Zai, I believe. He went nigh to the left and to like get what the guy was saying, and he went click click, as in, yeah, I heard what you said, but I've got that covered.
So at a
Oh,
minimum,
I see.
making decisions like that is sort of
He seems to be stone facing quite a bit.
He
Yeah,
is.
that's what got me a little bit. And his voice is so monotone, but
Yeah.
and it kind of sounded like maybe that's just like
He's got a round face too.
Yeah, I agree. He does like the monotone thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like he's not imposing.
I thought maybe I wasn't seeing dissatisfaction.
These drifts to the left though seem natural.
And you don't know
Natural and
what
strong.
the trigger is going to be, what the triggering event is going to be, which crisis.
And he kind of has like a long, puffy face.
Like you can have
Also, that's-
Yeah, it's like long but puffy at the same
Yeah.
time. It's like
that
kind of
Yeah.
a weird combo.
they
Makes-
basically
He's-
go to coma or their heart stops. You can't predict what day that's going to
You
happen.
can't predict it. He's more percussive.
Well, if you can't predict
Some
what's
Johnny's
going
big-
to happen, you sure
like-
can
But he
say
holds
whether
it
or not
like
we're
still a lot.
close.
Like his voice is monotone. He kind of like mutes his movements, but when he does, even they're small, the percussion seems a bit
Probably thought it was
more.
closer than what it really was, and I'm not trying to get you.
Yeah. Comes out in that kind of staccato kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
17
Yeah.
Little quick clipped juts.
$200 trillion commitment, debt, and obligations we have.
Also, he's not dragging him in with like he was like reading him like a hunter, like
Locked on, right?
locked on.
Observers around the world is on suicide.
It's like, what kind of thing is he gonna say that's gonna try and
And
Get around me.
To happen,
yeah? And he's like really attentive to that.
Okay, and what do
And
you
we
think
nodded
about,
there. Okay, that was like a nod. That wasn't like Jai, like I resonate. That was like you
That's
heard,
all I'm saying.
or like yeah, that's a. I just gave you a good answer to that question. You've been served. Hey, it's Zai. You've been served.
It's Krum.
Okay, good.
And it's Zai. It's click click.
Good little few mouse points there. That's funny. All right, so we good at him?
That the Crimean referendum.
Is there
I'm good.
some other ones that were?
Which other ones do we show on?
Which one did we have trouble on? The Vaiji, I think, right?
Yeah, these
Yeah.
new Vaiji are
Yeah, you're right.
were tricky. I think
was
it's
it
Milo?
Anyone get him?
I think so, yeah, several people
I
did.
saw it. I think that's
Who called Enjim as Vaiji?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
said
did.
Z. Yeah.
Wait, several people got Milo right?
I did.
Yeah, I got him right as well.
Okay, so whoever got him right, go ahead and take lead in this.
You want
Are we doing Anjum or Milo?
Milo or Enjim? I
I
guess
think we do
Milo.
both. I say we do Milo first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Milo is trickier in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a bit tricky. I was just like,
And I like this. This new riff's interesting to me.
Yeah.
totally. He's kind of a little bit more like, how do you say?
Smoother.
Yeah.
Not Sav. Yeah.
Savvy,
More
more-
savvy.
Sadly. I mean, that's.
Bit more cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, this riff this just makes a lot of these Vaiji journalists more hard to read because when you have more savvy ones, that makes it less obvious that they're.
It adds a new dimension to Moji reading for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Which is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
that often means they have better knee as well, so it's
Totally. Yeah.
I agree. He's humor a lot.
Yeah, so one thing that jumped out at me for him, because I kind of zoned in on Jez Hunter, because I could see the G in his articulation and that hunter hunch, the eyes.
Yeah, I wanted to
I
think he was a
definitely saw
hunter,
Jez
but I like
Hunter,
couldn't
yeah.
guess a hunter.
But the hands was something that I was like, that is not wizard. And the more
Yeah,
I
I
started
didn't think he was
looking
an
at it,
IG.
that's hard spider.
There's no way.
That is true. The hands, they looked
So
weird to
it's
me. I was like, they look kind of a bit
open, like,
what?
and not like the wizard, like with the.
That is
Yeah.
physically like.
Not a, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
A good physiological fourth gear riff that I used on him was Hayden Christensen. I find he's a lot less stiff than Hayden Christensen, so not so much game style, but just as far as physiology goes.
Yeah, he moves around a lot with his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
And
his
his
wobbliness
shoulders and
sort of
everything.
threw me off. Like he was kind of going like this.
Do all you guys talk?
Vaiji could do
I
that
can
too.
through his voice.
Yeah. Consider
Why even
charity.
conservatives who aren't religious, there are a lot of you want to make an argument. It doesn't hold water.
Also, you can see that there's a diffuseness to the eyes, you know? Like whenever he does like these looks like from under his forehead, then you know you don't really see this kind of like nigh cunning staring through them. It's this like diffuse kind of diffuse pinch quality.
It was about a year
So, like,
ago.
these are the facts. He's very factual in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I said, guys, look, I don't really understand this thing. I don't know what's going on here. I have a sense it has to do with some
I think
people.
it comes off as very like
The men.
very professional, yet very savvy. Like that's kind of his.
I don't know that I can rest.
Kind of like, yeah, mainstream yet also professional in a way.
Yeah,
Impeccable.
it's kind
Yeah.
of his game.
That's a good word for it.
Honest
Ever
assessment.
wanted to know what Gamergate was really about?
Yeah.
Next 5 minutes.
Elegant.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all used to seeing these social justice warriors.
And his articulating is just so like dot 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 dot
Yeah,
dot.
it sounds very like
He knows his
fine. I guess fine is more like Zai, but
In some cases, reporting on things extraordinarily badly. Now, Gamergate has been a huge controversy. People care about these things.
I kind of wonder, like as a gay Vaiji, how much being gay contributes to him allowing himself to be much more loose with his knee.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably by now.
He's a more
Because it's like a lot of other like straight guy Vaiji aren't that loose.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps. Because I think being gay is more considered.
Point that we have in terms of Vaiji, but he's an older guard though. Is Cooper and
That's true. That's also definitely something to take into consideration.
Urbane. It's pretty urbane.
but not as.
No,
we're
yeah.
talking about loose versus like stiff posture. He's very erect and like precise, like very still, more still.
There's lots of different things I think. Where he's from probably has to do with his age. He's younger, so that might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
The second half of it is the social justice warriors we mentioned briefly. There is a sort of insurgent move in
Yeah,
video
but when he
games
does-
from a couple of
Yeah, that was conductor hands right there.
Yeah.
socialist media.
But more.
You know, in a way, the Vaiji hands they look a little bit more looser than it does for like a Naiji with their wizard hands. I don't know, in a way. To me, I think
It
he's
does
got
have a
lots
kind of
heat.
spidery quality to it, you
Yeah,
know?
it's because they're actually going to be more on point. So they'll actually have like a professional in a lot of ways, technically like a surgeon's hands. Vaiji have like surgeon hands in a lot of ways. But with the Naiji, what you're noting is actually the perception powers for which one's higher. So he's going to have more of a bobble to his hands, even though it's modulation bobble. A Naiji, for example, the dreaminess is in it's the serpentine quality. But actually, if you look at like I say like with a surface area, it's V. This is a tool user hand. The Naiji hand is a tool using hand. But the way that tool using hand moves is serpentine. So him, same thing, his movement on point. His movement is a surgeon's movement. But the kind of like the natural loose movement through the air, it's bobble. He has the bobble in those lower parts of the digits, for example.
Right.
So I guess you're talking about look for like how the hand moves like this versus overall arcing.
yeah.
Because overall arcing is a hunter. He knows exactly where he's putting everything. But then the individual way it's moving through the air, it's going to have this quality. That, for example, in Demas, it's much more pronounced because it's momentum. But he still is going to have this kind of quality to his hand. And that, if that makes sense? Whereas the Nai, it's going to be more erratic in its conducting. You want to grab something, it's going to grab it like a tool user, V. You know what I mean? Boom. Hands on.
Also, one thing that helped me differentiate between Naiji is, so you can see that he's subjective and that he's also a G user. So he has a certain level of sensitivity that comes from, one, being a hunter, and two, the fact that he's aware of how he's coming off, but he doesn't have that visceral sensitivity that the Naiji have from Polar V that adds to a bit more of a twitchiness. The twitchy kind of, I feel like it's a weird word, but almost like brooding quality that like Dmitry Orlov had.
Yeah, quality for me. I know what you're talking about. The word that comes to me, my mind is that jumping out of the skin quality.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that.
Yeah.
The Nai Z, for example, even though they'll have G, they still have that Nai to V jumping out of your skin quality with the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like more haunted, you'd say, like the Naiji?
It's more like, almost like there's a greater distance behind like their apparatus and their physical body. So it's like this jump to embodying the physical body. Like when they get there, then all of a sudden they're kind of, it's more sparked. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like on.
Yeah. And I think the Vaiji have their own kind of sensitivity, but it's not that.
Of course.
Yeah, I think I've seen a bit of that actually, which is when things go off script, they have to go to their knee. And if there are environments where they are perhaps being mocked with humor, say someone's a knee momentum user, you'll see their knee get like, oh, I'm in danger of being ridiculed. I have to track that, but their knee notes that that's not a momentum power, so it has to kind of get like, boom. You know what I mean? You'll see sometimes like different people who are like leaders of movements, they're Vaiji. If a debate gets a little heated, a little off script, you'll see a little crazy knee eye action coming in there. Because that's their scramble power.
Mm-hmm.
He feels very comfortable here, though. This guy.
Are we good with them? You guys think?
Yeah, the sullenness in the eyes and all that sort of stuff in the skin. That's something that I'm becoming more and more aware of myself in Vaiji.
Yeah, and him being like so young and urbane, cosmopolitan, it wasn't as, I don't think, as evident. I kind of saw it more in the photos actually than on camera.
It's interesting though. He's very polished and very professional. Like he sounds like a business person or like a
Yeah, well, Vaiji are good at they are very representative.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's a kind of a tell you can kind of track on, when you're looking at someone like that.
It's going to help me here. Some of his maneuvers, because he has got a smoother, more liquidy game than you see in some Vaiji. One move he keeps doing, that's like a classic Vaiji move they just do. As he starts saying a point, he goes blah blah. He'll ratchet up the drone. He'll go like he does that like a little scaling. Nai does it too. We tell stories. He goes He kind of does his drone like that, like a 3-step to kind of sell it. And the other one he does is the same 3-step thing, but he hurries it. And that's when I can really tell. He usually will say something, and he'll actually rattle off 3 things that support his argument. He's very good. And when he does it, not only does he say the 3 things, he also doesn't want to bore you. So he speeds up the delivery. He goes, well, such and such is this principle because blah, 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 blah. He kind of like, he's done like about 20 times this interview. He's going to do it again for sure.
I'm sure Vaiji are great at those, like, those more structured presentations, like 3 points,
Right. But give him his exactly, that's a structure for sure. But actually, give him his credit. It's actually a Vaiji form of staccato. Mm-hmm. He basically realizes that he has too much information. It adds to his gravitas. He has too much density of information for you to handle in this time frame, And he lets you know that by saying, well, my answer to your question is this, because of this, and that. By the way, Zai do this a lot too, is why I noted it. They also use this kind of tactic of like, that's wrong because of this.
Because Zai have the same two compounds, they're just reversed.
I could keep going, but you get the point.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He kind of gives like a blah blah and blah 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 blah. He trails off, and he does that. He trails off, still giving you like supporting evidence, and he goes right to his next point.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like says his point, support, yeah, and then he switches to the next move. It's a very good game. And he often does this thing with his hand when he does it.
Yeah.
Not a version of that, but this is a Vaiji version. He goes blah blah, and then like this. Knives usually rattle off concepts of like to support their argument. They'll say their thing, and they'll rattle off a few principles, and they'll kind of just trail off like, you get the idea. I can keep going, but you get the idea.
Yeah,
He'll say
I have to be more careful about making sure the other person doesn't get lost, or like, you know, or that you're not like going, you know, too far into conceptually what you're talking about without losing their attention or interest.
But the maneuver lets that person know that you could keep going. It's like, I'm going to speed it up to be polite, but that tactic is like an unspoken way of saying, like, I've got reams I could keep going there, but I'll move on. Blah, blah, blah. Ream 1, Ream 2, Ream 3, you get the idea. Next point, you know what I mean? But the way they do it makes it seem like they had a lot more they could have put in, but they decided to not.
Yeah, that was definitely notable with him.
Are you guys good with him?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I feel comfortable.
All right. Do we have anyone else, or is it time for the live read?
Do you want to do engine, Dari?
We can do it pretty quick. Go ahead. Let's do it a little quicker, but yeah.
Quite the character.
Demas and was it
I
Ben?
think Mitchell?
I got it right, yeah.
Yeah, it's as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, you guys can take lead.
Yeah, the beard got in the way a little bit, I think. And the face did look fuller for me. That's why I went with Xenai.
Yeah, he had a heavier body. He gained weight. It showed his hands. His hands were a bit more substantial than classically on a hunter, because of that as well.
But his emoting, you can tell, he's got like the smirk. He goes up quite high.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe that was like Jai or something, but.
Story dominating the front page of the papers this week.
The British Armed Forces and fighting for the things that
That you were in the right to speak out because the crimes that were committed. You don't have any proof that these soldiers committed any
Oh, of
crimes.
course we do. I mean, the cases are many. I mean, there's
These particular soldiers that you're insulting.
no, the Basra Air Base and detention centres.
For me, it was the eyes that sort of gave it away for me. I saw a great amount of concern in the eyes.
You're talking about specific.
Yeah, I agree. It was
I
very
agree.
on point.
Yeah.
In this video, the quality isn't as good, but there were a couple of videos where he's looking right at the camera, and I could really see like
Yeah.
a great amount of
And the
concern.
pictures help with that too.
Yeah, let me put another video actually with better footage.
You got in a very
Yeah.
heated debate with this woman here, though.
You got into quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the less a Vi-G or Vi-Alpha has relationship to their knee, the more it looks like their eyes are kind of just like buried into their skull. Like the pinchness just increases much more.
Is Mordecai's Chaudhary on her?
Narrow-minded is, I guess, what you're trying to
Those
say.
more looks like their heads in the sand.
Narrow eyes, narrow-minded, yeah.
He's saying that, Glenn, but he's also saying there's like a physiological cue that
Right.
with that.
Yeah.
Now, it is known for Muslims around the world that whenever a Muslim is
Like right here, I see a lot of concern in the eyes.
man is being occupied or his honor is being
Yeah,
violated.
this constant pinched worry that he has.
So if a Muslim travels abroad, anywhere in the world, to defend his fellow brethren, then this is a good deed in Islam. Nobody can help this. Nobody
And then from there, I was able to see the G emoting going into the cheeks.
It's a noble deed. But of course, if we're talking about defending, because remember, there's a lot of rhetoric and there's a lot of discrimination.
I'm really tight on the facts as far as his perspective goes.
Example by Bashar al-Assad.
Facts as he sees them.
Right.
in China, in the Yingyang province. These people are being oppressed. Their land is being taken. They are being killed. Now, any sane, rational person will say to defend them, to stand with them side by side, to make sure that their life is protected is a noble. So you would encourage this person? Well, I don't encourage people, as I say, to go anywhere in the world. Because if I thought it was better to go
That's
abroad,
encouragement, isn't it? To say that what you're thinking to do is a noble thing.
if I thought it was better to go abroad, then surely I would not be sitting here. I would be
Yeah, and
abroad.
he's so much more refrained as well,
Yes,
compared to what a zine I would be.
Mhm.
It's even not asking you, but hearing what you are saying publicly, here or elsewhere, saying that this is a good thing, this is a noble thing, this is what the honest thing. Of course, this is encouragement, right?
No, not at all.
This is encouragement.
I think what you don't understand, possibly, is that the Muslims are not following the religion, apart from the messenger Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, whoever dies defending his life, whoever dies defending his honor, he dies a martyr, shaheed. The Quran is full of verses which talk about defending, right, and supporting Muslims. So these people, if they're going abroad, they're not going because
G for me, I can see through the finer flexations. He's not doing
Yeah.
like a lot of smiling or anything, but
Mhm.
Muslims,
Yeah, I think part of that was because it made me think Z Alpha.
he died, also noble.
Yeah, it does make more sense to me now that he's a 5G.
Mhm.
I don't know about this particular individual, but I mean, there are many people who become martyrs
Are you good, Hannah?
around the world. If the people, for example,
Yeah, are you guys good? I'm good on him.
traveling thousands of miles.
Yeah, we can move on. Let's go.
All right, let's go ahead into Act 3, the live read.
Okay, so-
Nah, I didn't check the live read myself beforehand, so I have no idea who it is.
Yeah, I don't either, but I'm going into.
it's John Boehner. I think.
Yeah, I think I just looked him up just to make sure he's
Yeah,
not already in the
media.
database, but I didn't really watch video.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm surprised that we didn't actually read John Boehner yet.
I know, right? Yeah.
Who's that, a Senate?
He's he was the Speaker of the House
Speaker
for
of the
quite a bit of
House.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I could have swore we did, but I didn't see him in the database.
I didn't see him in the yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Neo Magus. He wanted him. He on Facebook. We were talking about what is like. I think he wanted him to be read.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we'll read him now.
We'll get it done.
Let's do it.
We're done.
All right.
Yeah, I was just gonna do that actually.
Here we go. Grab a video.
Looking at pictures is interesting.
There's a video.
Oh yeah, and Paul Ryan is the new Speaker of the House, I think.
Yeah, and you called him. You tried to successfully tried to. How did you do it?
Well, first
Well, he has
off,
this
every-
poised charm quality.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know exactly where you're going.
I mean, that's kind of like. This,
Poised charm. I wonder.
that's
Oh no,
what-
it could be an IG.
Well, yeah, actually, Obama, for
You never
example,
know.
is-
Really didn't want to do it. Kept talking about it.
kept talking about.
I think I am seeing maybe Vi in the
Yeah.
pictures. There's quite those images. They look like that's like a Vi kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to use this term, but it sort of looks like dodo eyes.
Well,
What does
it's
that mean?
See, like they go to need like this, like they do a lot of concern, but then they have this like open knee. Well,
I think you
not quite open as like a momentum knee, but like this
It's
sort
dancing.
of dancing
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
Which it's an interesting contrast when.
Yeah, I do think I'm hearing drone in the voice. That rah 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 quality.
Yeah.
be open, be
Yeah.
transparent.
Be
I
open.
agree. I'm moving in that direction myself for sure.
People have no place else to go.
People have no.
It's like
Yeah, he's
YG
got
or
that
YZ.
news reporter voice.
Yeah, that radio announcer or
Roughly.
journalist
The budget deal that you struck.
voice.
Seems to kind of have a thick, kind of buttery, baleful voice.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. The butter, you can hear it, but it's sort of like
It's like it has like a G richness to it.
Yeah, with that raspy of the drone.
It's like almost Texan in a way, I think. Like a Vi Texan thing going on. Maybe. I'm gonna write over here some
description for you.
Like similar like that hunter of like looking their eyes, like their heads sort of like tilted down, but their eyes.
Yeah, like Milo does that,
Yeah,
and it's
Milo-
like the eyes are on you, but like there's a diffuseness to it, so it doesn't feel like they're like lasered on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel as threatening.
Yeah, you can see like he's in a simulator, like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you know about this and this and this and this and this, right?
Yeah.
But I think we're going a little bit assuming that he's a Vaiji, like very strongly. But I think we are right about that. But
Well, I mean, we're pointing out cues of. Oh, I think we were. I think in terms of the looking down and peering up, like that was, I guess, that's just something that he's an observation of something that he's doing that hunters tend to do.
Okay.
So then, the voice also, I think, was just an observation of a cue.
Yeah. It makes sense, though. It does make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that concerned crinkles in his forehead.
Yeah.
Crinkles his eyes quite a bit.
Yeah.
Also, this is very has a caring, like that warmness that he's doing right now in the countenance, and as he was jutting forward towards her, that seemed warm, caring.
Yeah. Does look like it goes up pretty high.
I've known you for a long time. I'm having trouble with this image.
I started July of.
Vaishi that does yoga.
Yeah.
Not that it's not possible. It's just
right.
It's like it's a spiritual practice, but I guess it's also kind of a traditional practice. That
it is very.
It's true, you know.
So it's like it's well established. I mean,
it's kind of made into like this new agey thing, I guess, but it is got like roots in the past.
I'm sure there's a lot of like, if you go to like, if you go to parts of the world where like yoga is like a very common thing, you might see a lot more like Vaishi, like yoga instructors and stuff, like,
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's not a foreigner's thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I kind of like his energy. I kind of think he's got some good energy. I'm not sure about anything else.
He's doing quite a bit of jutting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That does look like Bobble too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another interview. Let's see.
That was a good interview.
Mm-hmm. George Stephanopoulos. John
Dana. He's
George Stompabopoulos.
No.
George S. Just call him George S. Or Strombo. That's what he likes to be called, right?
Is that no? This one is Stephanopoulos.
Oh, this is a different person. Oh, okay, never mind.
live in the studio. I want to talk about the government shutdown, but first, of course, you've been briefed on these operations. I know you can't release any details, but are you confident it was a success?
I'm very confident that both of these efforts were successful. I'm going to congratulate
Still
all
hear
of
that
those in U.S. intelligence
that raspy,
our troops,
warm,
FBI, all those
voice.
who were involved.
Yeah.
The threat of Al Qaeda and their affiliates remains.
Yeah, it gives like this gravitas.
Yeah, definitely gravitas. Yeah.
I'm talking about.
This is
listen to me.
A great example of our dedicated forces on the security side, intelligence side.
Yeah, it does sound more buttery. I don't think I'm hearing the gravelly quality that Vizi have.
Yeah.
And he's doing that forward sort of jutting with the head tilted. Not right now, but when he was talking
schedule a vote for
and
a clean
looking up.
government funding resolution. Will you do that?
George, the House
Yeah,
has
he's
passed
doing that a little
four
bit here,
bills
tilting
to keep the government
his
open
eyes.
and to provide fairness to the American people under Obamacare. And even after the Senate has rejected, they've rejected all four of them. And even after the four rejections, we asked to sit down with the Senate and have a conversation. They said no.
Pictures, I want to see him do more emoting that goes up.
It's going to raise the cost of health insurance premiums.
He's
And
got some interesting pictures.
This is very, so far it's been warm articulation, and you can see there, right, he let his emotion go a little bit, and it softens.
So I guess the answer to my question is,
The energy I'm getting is a little bit like Bill O'Reilly, like slightly combative.
Of groups and people, but he hasn't given one to the American people.
More diplomatic,
more diplomatic.
Yeah.
Sure.
like more holding what his true opinion is of things.
Yeah.
Right.
are you sure that's true? The Democrats say they have 195 Democrats who
A bit more politician-y, if you will.
Of course, yeah.
21
Bill
Republicans.
O'Reilly is in his own league, I guess you could say.
Right.
Yeah, pundit versus politician.
Yeah.
A few more would come along.
Bill O'Reilly
would
doesn't
get along
seem
really well.
as much as caring as so much how other people, I guess, perceive him. I think a politician would be more interested in that a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right. Like Bill O'Reilly's not trying to get votes.
Yeah.
His career is secured with his fan base.
Yes.
Now we
Yeah.
open the government and
Which is probably very, like,
begin to pay our bills.
committed to him.
Right, and that's
And
why
the
they liked him in the
conversation
first
for White
place,
House,
is
the
because he
Democrats,
did
including
speak
Senate
these
Democrat
very
Harry Reid,
provocative
said
opinions
he's more
that
than
they
willing to have a
agreed
conference,
with.
more than willing to have a
But for
negotiation,
Boehner, it's
but not
more
under
like,
the threat of a government
you know,
shutdown, not under the threat of default.
So it's my way or the highway.
Yeah, not as guaranteed.
Yeah, he's
I
kind of
think,
more
I think he
new.
calls his show like the No Spin Zone or something. I don't know.
Right.
Something like
It's
that.
funny.
No, it's like, might as well just call it the no knee
He's like,
zone.
you know,
Yeah.
he comes from a position, or he thinks he's coming from a position of like telling everybody straight like what it is,
Right.
like regardless of what anyone thinks, like this is how it is, you know.
Yeah.
And offered to pass a clean government funding resolution, no Obamacare amendment.
These are you know, I guess these are pretty significant differences, but at the end of the day, somebody like Bill O'Reilly and somebody like John Boehner, when they get together behind the scenes, they have way more in common than there's different between them. I mean,
yeah, it's just more of a style and what they're going for, what fields they're playing in.
Because really, behind the scenes, good point, Bruno. Behind the scenes, there's actually a lot of politics that happens, particularly in a high-low prestige job like O'Reilly has. He didn't get there by accident, so sure. But you have to kind of go off of what they show you on camera and what media they'll give you. Obviously, geared for different purpose. One to get elected, the other for ratings.
Are threatening the future for our kids and our grandkids. And it's time for us to stand.
Yeah, but again, he's doing
This is
that
clearly not what you want. I'm going to go back to
jutting,
several
warm
points you've made
delivery
about this over the last year.
with
Here you are,
gravel,
right after the
drone
election
voice.
with Diane Sawyer.
It's pretty clear that the president was reelected.
So this person is
all of the land
questionable as far as his code of conduct goes?
to the CR and sent over to the Senate. We were risking.
Does he? Were you asking if he has a questionable code of?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, because I'm not sure.
I think, yeah, people have questioned his, kind of motives, but it's like many other politicians. I think the fact that he's changed positions on things,
Right.
and kind of seems to pander to what's politically, like what's hot politically at the time, but that can be said of many other politicians, I guess. So.
Yeah, I really don't know much about Americans.
Scandals, though, that I know of, he hasn't had any real scandals. I don't think.
I do see some pictures of him like crying. it's weird.
Time for us to
I don't know what
say.
that's about though.
That's what the American people expect.
Sometimes,
That's what I've
we get
been
moved.
for the last 10 days. Let's sit down and have a conversation. We've had a conversation before. Well, why can't we have one here?
Even some of your own members are saying this is not your strategy. One of your colleagues, Republican Congressman Devin Nunes of California, was asked, what is the House strategy right now? And he said, listen, you really have to call Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz. I'm not even joking about that. He's the one that set up the strategy. Even one of your own colleagues is saying, this is not your strategy.
Oh, I
Speaker
think he
Boehner.
did cry
It's a
when
strategy
he
set
had
with
to
Ted
step
Cruz
down as
and
the
other House
Speaker of the House.
I thought the fight.
Oh, so he's no longer.
But
Yeah,
most of my members, they decided,
I think
let's
it's
do
Paul
it.
Ryan, right?
And the fact is, this fight was going to come one way or
Yeah,
the
Paul
other.
Ryan's the new
We're in the
Speaker.
fight.
Yep.
Shut the government down.
But
We
Boehner is
passed bills
still
to
a
pay the
member of
troops. We
Congress.
passed bills to make sure that federal employees know that
These American politicians, I have no idea who any of them are.
we passed.
I don't even know about the Canadian ones. Politics is just not interesting to me. Gavels and
Government is shut down.
clean haircuts.
We're paid for the time.
The comb over.
In Washington won't sit down and have a conversation. So why should they be?
Yes, they are being paid.
And listen, I've asked my pay to be withheld during this, and so will my come.
How is this going to end right now?
Hey,
Even though you're
whatever.
taking, even though
His cheeks are kind of buggy.
Republicans did a shutdown right now, how long is it going to go
I
on?
can totally feel like Vi Alpha is like
death
good. I feel confident on that. It's just the G and the Z is a little bit.
On the corner.
There's another sort of riff that I found. It's Dr. Drew Pinsky. I'm going to paste it in the chat. He's a IG as well.
Yeah, but I mean, you
George
see when he emotes like
had a
this
conversation
picture
about raising the
here.
debt limit. And during the
Even
Clinton
when he's
administration, there were
emoting
three
very
fights over the debt
little,
limit. And you and I participated.
like this
in
picture
several
I
of
just
those.
posted,
And even
he's
President Obama himself.
you
in
can still
2011
see
went through a
the
negotiation.
flexations
Now
of the
he's saying,
cheeks.
no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to tell you what. The nation's credit is at
Oh, here
risk
it's a big one.
because of the administration's refusal to sit down and have a conversation.
This one here, you can really see a lot of
debt limit. There have been some.
I don't know that kind of it does. I see what you're saying, Jalene, but it kind of seems like maybe that's like unaware in a way, or like shy poignancy. I don't know.
I don't know. All of his.
I don't know. That looks like it goes up kind of high, though.
It is time.
Yeah,
to
I suppose.
How can you raise the debt limit and do nothing about the underlying problem? George, we've spent
That kind of looks like Baiji to me, but
this year, the federal government will have more revenue than any year in the history of our country, and yet we're still going to have a nearly $700 billion budget deficit. We are squandering the future for our kids and our grandkids
Also, it's very,
by
like,
not dealing with this problem.
The deficit, as you know,
This
has been coming
fieriness
down
that he
this year. But I want
has,
to
this
press you on this
balefulness
issue of
seems
the
very much like
risks
G.
of not passing a clean debt limit.
Yeah, that does seem like he kind of conducts himself according to like a code of conduct.
And catastrophic, that would be the impact of failing to pass a debt limit. They go on to say credit markets could freeze, the value of the dollar could plummet, U.S. interest rates could skyrocket, the negative spillovers could reverberate around. Be willing to put a debt limit on the floor that would pass with Democratic votes, even if it didn't get a majority of the Republican Congress. Is that no longer true?
My goal here is not to have the United States default on their debt.
Okay, yeah, right there when he said "I do," that seemed like G to me.
The deficit and driving the debt up. And the president's
He
refusal.
got a little bit like he brought in some like I don't know how to describe that exactly.
Are you saying that if he continues to refuse to negotiate, the country is going to default?
After on.
Yeah, I think Baiji does make sense.
I assume, well, maybe he wants to have a conversation.
Are we thinking about any other mojos, perhaps, for him?
He knows what my phone number is. All he has to do is call.
I mean,
it's October 17th.
I'm really just juxtaposing it with Vizy just to have something to juxtapose it with.
Right.
Not really getting any polls towards CNI or anything.
Not me either.
And Vizy doesn't fit for me.
Yeah, no.
Business in America can survive a $700 billion budget deficit in 1 year. It is time.
Should we maybe call it? How do we, or should we take in more video?
Is everyone ready to make? I'm ready to make a call. Are you ready, Bruno?
I'm pretty cool with calling it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Glenn?
I'm feeling good. Mitchell or Ben?
Mitchell? Yeah. Ben?
Oh yeah, I said I'm good with it.
Okay. All right. We'll start with you, Bruno. Where did you land on John Boehner?
Vaiji.
Yeah, I'm going to say Vaiji and then Vizy is second, but I'm leaning mainly towards Vaiji.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess Baiji.
Mitchell?
Yeah, I'll say Baiji. I'll also throw his name there as but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Vaiji.
Yeah. Baiji.
Yes. Nice job, team. So I did a Vaiji riffs today. That's kind of cool.
It is.
Yeah.
We did a lot of it. Vegas has got a lot of IG. This quiz.
Okay, so that will do it for tonight. This week, I was thinking we would do an interpretives temple because there's been some talk about the other and the relationship to it. And I think it'd be good to actually have as many people on that talk as possible because it's a very broad subject. So, Demas, would Monday or Tuesday work for you?
Monday.
Monday?
Monday for sure, not Tuesday.
Gotcha. Will that work for everyone this week?
Sure, that's fine with
Works for me.
I might be able to come. I don't know.
Okay, I understand. So we do best we can to try to get the balance. I wish I could get everyone every time, but I understand people's schedules. But I would like to get as much of a mix in it as I can, as talk about the other and so forth. Is kind of a very broad topic.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I guess we will see everyone who can make it tomorrow at 5:30. Would making it later help, Ben, or would that not make a difference?
I don't know. It's just a wonky situation because I get out of class at like 4 o'clock, so that would give me I would sleep for 3 to 4 hours,
Okay.
and I could do that, but do I want to do that?
So do what you can, but
I mean, it's like I know I can physically make it. It's just it would be difficult as far as scheduling sleep is concerned, things like that.
Okay. If we see, that'd be great, but we understand if we can't. Okay. But thanks for letting us know what's going on with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone have a great evening, and this week will be
Eagle Eye.
Eagle Eye, and then it's going to restart with Jolene. I don't think there's anyone else going in the rotation. Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Awesome. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.